Chapter 4, Introduction to Functions. Before beginning our discussion of functions, we devote this first screencast to doing a quick review of how we describe points on a plane. A plane is a flat two-dimensional surface, much like the screen you're looking at. We describe particular locations or points on a plane relative to two number lines, like the ones you're seeing below. The numbers represented on a number line are called real numbers. When a real number is marking the location of a point on the plane, we call it a coordinate of that point, and then we call the number lines coordinate axes, or simply axes for short. One axis is typically drawn horizontally, while the other is drawn vertically. Shown below is a point. The location of this point can be described by two numbers. If I start from the horizontal axis at 2 and I go down, and if I start from the vertical axis at -3 and I go over, I arrive at the point that is marked. So we can think of this point as lying at the intersection of 2 on the horizontal axis and -3 on the vertical axis. So the location of this point can be described by this pair of numbers, 2, -3. The 2 represents the horizontal axis, the -3 represents the vertical axis. These two numbers are referred to as the coordinates of this point, and the pair of numbers together is the coordinate pair representing this point. Another point worth mentioning on this plane is where the two axes meet. Notice that on both of the number lines, we meet at 0. So the pair of numbers that describes this point would be 0, 0. This particular point is referred to as the origin. Let's check your understanding of coordinate pairs. For each of the points shown below, give the coordinate pair describing that point. Go ahead and pause this recording now. You can use that time to write down the coordinate pairs for all of these points and then continue playing this recording. Okay, let's go ahead and write down the coordinate pairs for all of these points. I'll begin with the point up here at the right. Notice that this point lies at the intersection of 4 on the horizontal axis and 4 on the vertical axis. So its coordinates are 4 from the horizontal axis and 4 from the vertical axis. Next point, let's do the one down here. This point lies at the intersection of 4 on the horizontal axis and -3 on the vertical axis. Next point, we'll do the one right there. This point lies at the intersection of 3 on the horizontal axis and 0 on the vertical axis. Sometimes students have a hard time seeing that it's a 0 on the vertical axis. The easiest way to see this is by starting at this point and going all the way over to the vertical axis. You can see that we meet the vertical axis at 0. So that's where the second coordinate of 0 comes from. Next point. We'll do this one. This point lies at the intersection of 0 on the horizontal axis and 2 on the vertical axis. Next point. This point lies at the intersection of 0 on the horizontal axis and -1 on the vertical axis. Let's look at the next point. This point lies at the intersection of -2 on the horizontal axis and 1 on the vertical axis. This point lies at the intersection of -3 on the horizontal axis and 4 on the vertical axis. This point lies at the intersection of -4 on the horizontal axis and 0 on the vertical axis. Lastly, this bottom point lies at the intersection of -3 on the horizontal axis and -4 on the vertical axis.